Hey everybody, Spartan here from SpartanTrading.com. I wanted to hit you guys with another trade review video, and in this week's edition, we have 3 earnings trades we're going to be going over. Yay! All right, so let's talk about my process. Before earnings comes out every single day, and we do this in chat every single day, I'll go over the earnings, I'll go through the charts, I'll chart them out to the upside and the downside. And we do this to figure out if it's positive or negative, where the stocks can go to. So the biggest key in earnings right out the gate is going to be preparation. Knowing where the stocks can go to, it's pretty easy to figure this stuff out. You look at the daily charts, you use the peaks and valleys or the highs and lows on the chart that stand out to you to chart these areas. You got a special way of doing it, I guess. If it's at all-time highs, you got to use Fibonacci extensions. Again, got a way of doing that as well. So anyways, I go through these charts, anything that's reporting earnings after hours or in the morning, and I look at those levels on the ones that I want to trade. In this case, for instance, before earnings came out today, I was looking at, and we did this in chat, earnings, Amazon and EA. I'll just kind of blow this up. You can see the levels that I had to the upside and the downside. Real quick, what this does is this just allows me to see where the stock can go to on the upside and the downside, where I think. Now, Amazon blew past the upside levels, but at least when I saw that it was positive, I saw the price action looked good, and there was buying that was occurring, and I wanted to actually take the stock long, which I did, that these are the first 2 levels that it could get to. It can pass them, absolutely, and it did surpass them, and we'll talk about that. But if you're prepared, and you have some conviction into those levels. Doesn't mean they're going to get there. Sometimes they don't, but at least you know and have a great idea of the amount of range the stock could have to the upside. So preparation, first little key thing into earnings. Now, earnings come out. It's all about understanding the price action, first and foremost. That's how I make decisions only, and then looking at the news. I have a Newswire up, I got Twitter up, and I also have, the room up where we're telling me, what the actual earnings reported were on Amazon. So I saw the price action look positive. I saw a little bit of a whipsaw down. On that, it was small volume, and then buying started to come in immediately. And when I saw that in the L2, I started to take some long. And as it started to push up long, and I saw the actual earnings, which were positive, I started to really add into the position. Now it's Amazon, it's an expensive stock, so you're not going to be taking thousands of shares. Hundreds is what you'll be taking, for most people at least. Now, as the stock's running up, I'm adding into the position, and then obviously at my first target, that 1933, this is when I started to sell. So I sold some at 1932, 22, then 1964.95 as it blew past that level. And then it got into the 2000 level, and then I basically sold my entire lot at that point. So got out the entire lot. I held a couple pieces, like literally 50 shares, and I sold out a little bit more there, and then I kept on like 20 shares just for shits and giggles, and let that thing run. And I eventually ended up getting out as it got extended on my 10-minute chart. At the end of it, I would count this as more of like a 100-point and change trade rather than a 185 trade, just because 20 shares on the last 80 points isn't really a lot. But anywho, this position and this trade itself was all due to interpreting the earnings, interpreting the price action, and then taking the trade immediately. No hesitation, you take it. You miss the trade, you miss the trade. It is what it is. So that's an example on Amazon. What I did, that's the thought process there. This is more instinctual than, you can't think about it, you have to react to it. This is all about practice. You won't get good at trading earnings unless you practice it. I've been doing this for years, trading earnings. I wasn't, good when I first started. You got to start, if you're going to be trading earnings, very small size. Start, if you're going to be trading something like Amazon, maybe start with like 1 to 5 shares, and then you can work your way up as you get more consistent. I wouldn't probably start with something like Amazon. I think it's just too wide of range. Start with a cheaper stock. Something $20 to $50 range. Play really small size, and as you get the hang of how the price action works during earnings and how to interpret earnings, then you can increase. Just like anything else in trading. Start small, get consistent, increase the size. The issue with trading after hours, guys, and definitely would avoid it if you can't control risk and force yourself to take losses, where because you can't set stops after hours, you'll have to exit the position if you're wrong. And it happens to me all the time. I'll exit it if I'm wrong. And the cool thing about earnings is when you are wrong, you can flip it to the other side, and you can probably make your money back very quickly. Now, let's talk about another one that I did was Netflix on Monday. Earnings came out, stock pushed up, and the earnings were negative, which I saw. And I was like, okay, this is a really weird whipsaw. And what I started to see at the end of the whipsaw was selling started to come in. So when selling started to come in, I started to short the stock. 330, 345, 345, 339, 336. And as it pulled down, so short, as it pulled down, it started to get, I can't show you the 1 minute chart, but it started to get extended on the 1 minute chart to the downside into support levels that I already had charted out. And when that occurred, I just started to cover the stock into those levels. This was about a 12, 15 point trade, I guess, on the short side. And then when it pulled and was finally extended on the 1 minute chart, I just started to add into it long. Not a huge position on the long side. I took some at 330. I didn't end up adding to the position. I just ended up selling it. And then I wanted to take it one more time, which then I decided, okay, I traded it twice. In the after hours, you did good. What are you doing? Why you keep going after it? And then I just basically took it long and then sold it immediately. But yeah, Netflix, another one. This one was more of watching the price action and then making a decision based off of the actual earnings that came out themselves. And the reason why I waited in this regard was Netflix, it had a lot more range to the upside. I think the move should have been like 30 or 40 points. And what I saw was the price only went up, 10 points or 8 points, whatever it was. To me, that was weird. If you guys looked at Apple yesterday, it was the same sort of deal where it had a lot more implied volatility to the upside. It should have, probably pushed to 330, 333 from my technical analysis, but it only pushed to like 327. And I was telling the guys while I was on mic and screen share with them after hours that the price action looked weird. Listen to your gut. Price action looks weird. It doesn't look like it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Then something's off. In this case, something was off. There's people that probably had the earnings report a little, or maybe 10 or 5 seconds before I saw it. Once I saw it, then I made the decision to take it short, took it short, and then obviously played the long on the extension. So a little bit of an example there. Last one I want to talk about is Now, which actually happened yesterday. And this one was an interesting one. The guidance didn't come out till later, but this was the chart that I had on Now. So I did Fibonacci extensions to figure out where it could go to. 330.66, 332. Those are my levels. Downside 297.77, 289.48. Earnings came out, decided to take the stock long. Basically, I didn't really get an add into this one, just took it long with a quarter size, and then I just started to scale out of it immediately. So I took it long. Earnings came out 319, and one of the reasons for that as well was the spread on the stock at the time was like 3 or 4 points. It was huge. So I got a good fill on the first piece, and then if I was going to add into the position, I thought the spread was just too big. Next fill would have been at like 324. Don't really want to risk it. I got a good position. If it continues to push, great, I'll hold it and scale out. So anyways, took it at the 319 level, sold some at 326, 323, 50 looks like, and then it pushed up into my resistance levels, which were that 331 area and then the 333, and that's basically where I sold out the rest of it. 331 sold some at 330, and then 332, looks like the last sell was at, So I sold some at 328, 330, then 331.50. So that was the last sell, 331.50 on the upside. Ended up hitting the resistance point. I was just scaling out because it did start to get extended on that 1 minute chart. And then eventually you can see that it hit the resistance level, started to reverse back. And that was the end of that one. That's all I did with it. Just quick little trade, in and out, 12 points total to the upside. Fantastic. So earnings season, guys. What's it all about? It's about preparation. It's about speed. It's about not hesitating and understanding the price action as well as interpreting the earnings. You can do those things. You can trade it. It's not easy to do. This is probably the hardest type of day trading to do. It takes a lot of practice. There's a lot of days where I got killed, trying to learn how to do this, especially when you start to size up. When you're wrong, if you can't take the losses, like I said, I would definitely avoid trading after hours. No stops is a killer. You got to be very disciplined to exit those positions if you make mistakes. Anywho, that's it for what I wanted to show you guys in terms of this little bit of a trade review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. There's more coming your way. Have a great day. If you guys have questions or want to trade with us, SpartanTrading.com or Spartan@SpartanTrading.com. If you got any questions you want to email me. Anyways, thanks guys. Have a good one.